Hi, let's design a high heel booty. I'm using an iPad Pro and Procreate. We established the overall length of the shoe, the center, the middle, and the heel height. And from the heel height to the middle, and then the toe, lifting it about 5-6 millimeter. It's the toe spring. A perpendicular line in the back, and determine the back height, and then from there to the toe. And now 1/4 of the length, we trace another perpendicular. This is about the width, is the 1/4 of the total length of the shoe. Another perpendicular line to the middle. And then we started to round the shank area and the toe of the last and the back. And then the instep, like if it was a shoe last at this point, kind of the ankle. And now the back of the boot, starting from the top to the middle of the back height. We determine the height of the shank, of the shaft, and then from there to the instep. And now the heel. We'll do a stiletto heel. A little bit narrow at the top and a little wider at the bottom. Just like that. And now the bottom and the top lift. And at this point we want to see a little bit of the inside of the heel. I'm adjusting a little bit the line. I want the back of the shaft to be, a little wider in the back. Maybe the shaft height a little slightly shorter. We'll see it at the end, but adjusting a little bit the line as I see. And then the sole. And now I design the vamp of the booty. And here, kind of a classic line. And also I want to add a back counter so that I have more material to play with. Now I lower the opacity of this rough sketch, and I'm going to do the final sketch correcting the line. Now you have to try to be steady with your line and change slightly whatever you think needs correction. And you trace the whole shoe, the heel, everything, so that at the end you have a clean sketch. You see I go kind of in the middle of the two lines. That's where I think is the best. And then same thing in the back. Top line as well, kind of in the middle of the two that I sketched. And cleaning up the toe and the vamp. And now I click off the rough sketch, leaving just the final sketch showing. And from this point, I pick the airbrush and I retrace the whole shoe using an airbrush around 5 points. So that kind of thickness, but then you pick the thickness that you like best. And this one, as I always say, is to kind of round off the lines, to make the line softer. And all around again. Takes a little bit more time, but I think the result is nicer doing it this way. the shaft. The vamp, and all the way the front of the boot and the sole. And there you go. There you have it. At this point, I fill the top lift and the inside of the heel, the breasted side. And then from now, I start stitching the boot. You can use a brush. I have a brush, but like this it looks better, and I want to show you how I used to do it. And you can also use this technique with pen and paper. So, and now I copy the sketch and I flip it so I can show kind of the inside. I get rid of the part that is overlapping. So now I can show on the inside I have a zipper. So I sketch my zipper. Being a booty like this, most of the time, unless you use a wide boot last, you need either an elastic or a zipper to be able to wear your boot. So design the zipper, the zipper pull, and now, like the rest of the sketch, I use the airbrush to go around the line, and I sketch my zipper, all the teeth of the zipper. And the end of it. And then also on the inside I stitch. I'll show the stitching all around. And this is because, in some cases you want a double stitch, some, you have a heavier stitch, so you have to show all your stitching and the top of the shaft as well. And here you have the complete sketch. And now we'll go with the shading. If you follow me, you know that I like to shade my sketch, make them more realistic. So with the airbrush, changing kind of the width of the airbrush, I shade my sketches around every piece. As you see, it's a little darker, and we leave white where we think the light is hitting the boot, so that it gives the impression of being around there. Now you can make it more or less dramatic, and as you go, you'll find your style and what you like best. You can do it with a lot less shading or more shading, but when it's shaded, I think if it looks more real and more a softer sketch, more realistic, you can see your boot is going to look like that at the end, like your sketch. That's what you want. And now the shaft as well, changing a little bit the width of your airbrush. Try to make it look round and soft. And the same thing for the heel. There you go. And now I do the same thing that I did with the sketch. I copy the whole shading and I flip it so that I don't have to reshade the inside, but I just use the same shading outside and inside. And then with the same airbrush, but with white, I put some shading on the top lift, on the darker parts of the shoe. So even that it shows that is rounder. And then the ground. And your booty sketch is complete. There you have it. We have a high heel boot. If you like this tutorial, please like and subscribe. Thank you. Bye.